The amount of teams that it feels as though they actually have a legitimate shot at making a finals run is actually insane for the NBA today, and it almost feels like the conversation around basketball for this entire season has almost been just the uncertainty of that whole situation, even like the MVP race. It really feels like so many teams have their leg up this year, and there are not a lot of teams that are having down seasons, and the ones that are almost exclusively doing it by design. Shout out to Los Angeles Lakers as the outlier there. But if you look down the list, the Miami Heat, the Chicago Bulls, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference, all six of those teams, if you told me they made a finals run, I would not be like, that's impossible. Then you go down to the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies. I'm probably actually going to cut it off there because I'm not a believer in the Jazz, and as good as Luka is, I'm not really a believer in the Mavericks. But there's one team that I see consistently left out of this conversation, and it's a very broad conversation, so I'm surprised they're left out of it as routinely as they are. That team is the Denver Nuggets. Welcome to Asa Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100K by the end of the playoffs. Dropping a like also takes 1 second, and it makes a huge difference in how the video performs in the algorithm. The Denver Nuggets are one of the most slept on teams in basketball, and I realize that I have been saying this for a long time now. I have had the take of, hey, watch out for the Nuggets for quite a bit. Even last year when they had the MVP, obviously, with Nikola Jokic, I was like, even though Jamal Murray is out, I would not count them out as a genuine contender. They, of course, got smacked in the second round versus the Phoenix Suns, but when most people thought the Blazers fully healthy could beat a hindered Nuggets team, the Nuggets still managed to win that series rather convincingly. I believe it was a 6-game series, if I'm recalling correctly. Either way, I made a video then about how, hey, the Nuggets are not going to get crushed by some other playoff contender. Then, of course, they got crushed by the Phoenix Suns, so clearly that was not the case. That was mostly just Chris Paul and Devin Booker taking advantage of Denver's drop coverage, lack of point of attack defenders, and the fact that Jokic was just simply not going to step up on two of the best mid-range shooters in the game and one of the best mid-range shooters of all time in the pick and roll. But here's a different argument for you. Denver Nuggets are going to be healthy by the end of the year, or at the very least, it appears as though that's going to be the case. There is no hard set date on the return of neither Michael Porter Jr. nor Jamal Murray, but most reports seem to indicate that at the very least, we're going to see those two back by the time the playoffs have started. And sure, the immediateness of that, the short-termness of that, is going to make it questionable that this team is like a top of the list contender. And let me put it this way, if that wasn't a factor, I do believe they would be a top of the list contender. Because in the 9-ish games that they played together before Jamal Murray tore his ACL, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Will Barton, and Nikola Jokic was statistically the best lineup in basketball, and they were absolutely killing teams. And we only got to see that lineup for a couple of games because, like I said, Jamal tore his ACL. But you could very easily make the argument that the chemistry factor, and then just the simple fact that MPJ and Jamal are going to have to wind up their ability going into the playoffs. Maybe they get a couple of weeks of NBA action before the playoffs, most positively. And even then, like getting into a rhythm for Jamal, having not played basketball in well over a year, in Michael Porter Jr.'s case is not much shorter than that either. Cause for concern. Chemistry, cause for concern, even though I don't think it's going to be as big of an issue as the just simply getting back into NBA playing shape issue. It is not a non-issue. So I do say that, you know, my take here is not that the Denver Nuggets are going to show up healthy for the playoffs and just absolutely pulverize everyone in front of them. As of right now, their playoff matchup would be the Dallas Mavericks. And if I am sorry, it would not be the Dallas Mavericks, it'd be the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are more than likely going to pass the Warriors in the standings. So assuming things stay relatively similar to where they are now, more than likely the matchup ends up being the Warriors in the first round. The Warriors are going to smack them more like, well, I don't want to say smack. I would say the Warriors probably win that series in 6 games rather convincingly. But I just want to put it out there that the Denver Nuggets, when they are going to be healthy, the Denver Nuggets are going to be healthy going into this year's playoffs, and that could be grounds for an upset. Because while I picked the Warriors to win that series, I don't think it's a guarantee. While I would pick the Grizzlies to win that series, I don't think it's a guarantee. If the standings got swapped and, like, let's say Denver went up one slot, got Dallas's place, and they matched up with Utah in the first round, I'm picking the Nuggets healthy to win that series, even if it's not the Nuggets healthy perfect because of chemistry and everyone coming back from stuff like I mentioned. But I really feel like this team hasn't gotten the attention it deserves in terms of the fact that these guys are going to come back. Nikola Jokic is an even better player than he was when everybody was last healthy. And Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray are two just seamless fits next to Jokic, along with Aaron Gordon in that respect. And that team is built so fucking great. They're even way better defensively than you would think, especially with the improvements that Nikola Jokic has made, that I really feel like there is a world where these guys come back and it's like, at the very least, this is not a team that you want to meet in the first round. It's not the matchup that is going to feel ideal. It's not going to feel like you're getting your 6 seed matchup and you're getting that out of the way. No, it is not going to be easy to defeat this Nuggets team, no matter how talented the team that is in front of them is. So when we're talking about the contenders and the top teams in the NBA and the teams that have potential to make some noise in the playoffs, do not leave the Denver Nuggets out of this conversation. Another worthy thing of note here, on top of the fact that Jamal and MPJ would be coming back, is that one of the biggest problems that has existed with the Denver Nuggets this year has been depth. But 2 guys in the starting lineup for the Denver Nuggets, Monte Morris, and really, it's kind of alternating with the Nuggets. They don't have a consistent lineup, but like if it was Monte Morris and like Will Barton is exchanged or whatever, or whoever it might be, that is instantaneously making your bench depth way better. So it's not only going to just be the fact that you're getting those players back, but it's the fact that your depth is improved, and depth was a huge part of the Nuggets' success in the past. Again, Nikola Jokic is a way better player than he's ever been. And the biggest factor here, Nikola Jokic is in that tier of player where if you have him on your roster, you kind of inherently cannot count that team out. I'd say it's like the argument that people have always made about LeBron James, where it's like, look, if you have LeBron on your team, I don't care what the fuck else is around you, don't take them for granted. It's kind of a similar thing with Jokic. I'd say it's a similar thing with Luka. It's just kind of how it goes with these S-tier superstar type guys. So the combination of Jokic being better and as good as he is, the potential of Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, what they bring to the table when they're back as individuals, on top of the fact that it gives Denver way more depth than they've had all season, on top of the fact that when everybody was last healthy for the Nuggets, again, they had like the best net rating in basketball when all of their starters were healthy for that 9-game sample size, which is a small sample size, I'll give you that, but still worthy of note. I would just be a little wary of the Denver Nuggets. That's all I have to say. I'm recording these videos because I am in Atlanta at the time that you're seeing them. I mean, this one I might be on the way to Atlanta. I don't remember the exact schedule, but either way, or actually I think I'm seeing the Batman movie today, and then I'm going to Atlanta tomorrow when this video comes out, but whatever, this is not important. I'm going to be wearing this outfit for like all these videos because I'm recording them all in succession, so just keep that in mind. Also, go check out the podcast if you haven't already. We have a live show that is going to be in Atlanta on the 11th of March, on that Friday. It's going to be a big show with a lot of big guests, and I'd really appreciate it if you showed up for that. But yeah, that was my thoughts on the Denver Nuggets. Goodbye.